ladies and gentlemen, coming in hot right at the end, right at the very, very end, and when I think society deems it acceptable to do these prediction videos. It is currently 9:15 p.m. March 26th, 2021. Obviously, tomorrow, March 27th, UFC 260. I've been grinding, trying to get just my life doing that, you know, with work, and trying to make this video finally here. When there's UFC 259, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have my UFC 260 prediction video like well in advance. I'm just gonna be so ahead of it, and here we are. UFC 261 though, or maybe what's the ABC 2, UFC on ABC 2. Who is that? That's Till and Vittori, I think that is. I don't know, but anyways, doesn't matter. But I'm gonna do this. Here is just the main card. First of all, I do want to say something which is going to be obvious, and maybe there's going to be some people wondering. There's some girls that are fighting, and I'm not mentioning them in this, and I'll tell you why. The reason why I'm not doing it is because I was so crunched for time, and I wanted to get the fights that, like, okay, I know these guys, let me just do this. And to be honest with you, it's kind of a good thing that even the Alexander Volkanovski and the Brian Ortega fight, it's a good thing that that kind of got pulled, because then I'd be really cramped for time trying to do all these predictions. There was even some predictions that I was going to do on earlier preliminary cards, like the ESPN Plus stuff, and I just decided, you know, I'm not actually going to do that because I'm cramped for time. That being said, let's get into fight number 1 of the main card. Jamie Mullarkey versus Khama the Death Star Worthy. Khama, I think it's Khama. Doesn't matter. This is an interesting fight. If you recall to my last video, yesterday's video, I was actually talking about Jamie Mullarkey. I was actually talking about this fight in general. But this is a very important fight for Jamie Mullarkey, because it's actually an important fight for both of them. But Jamie Mullarkey, he's had 2 fights in the UFC, and he lost 2 fights. And honestly, he'll probably get cut if he doesn't win this. But you know what? Let's just get right in to the predictions. So this is a 3-round fight, all round being 5 minutes. I predict that the fight will start off with Mullarkey trying to keep his distance and Worthy trying to find an opening. Mullarkey, it's interesting to see some of his highlights, because he is trying to kind of draw in his opponent, and Worthy likes to get in there. He likes to get pretty close, and he's very, very explosive. And I think it'll be interesting to see what that first round is. I mean, in every fight, the first round can dictate what the rest of the fight looks like. So I think for those of you watching, it's very important to pay attention to the first, actually 2.5 minutes of like the first round. But I mean just the first round in general. But you know what I'm saying. I think that because Mullarkey's a little bit stiff in his approach at the beginning of the fight, he's going to eat a lot of punches by Worthy in the first round. If you're watching some of Mullarkey's highlights, he is pretty stiff, which is unfortunate. He eats punches. The guy's got a massive jaw, like he's got a strong jaw, so he can take those punches. But honestly, it's going to be interesting because Khama Worthy, he's got strong power. He's got power. The guy can really hit. So it'll be interesting to see, with Jamie Mullarkey. I heard one person saying, Jamie Mullarkey eats punches like they're going out of style. And honestly, it's kind of sad but true, because he does eat a lot of hits. honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I'm rooting for Jamie Mullarkey. I think Khama Worthy is a cool dude. Unfortunate that these guys are going against each other because I think they're both cool, and obviously you want, kind of both to win. You don't want either to lose, but I'm gonna go with my guy Jamie Mullarkey. Anyways, that being said, next point. I think that Mullarkey will start to ease his way into the fight going into round number 2, and he'll start to land some very good heavy shots on Worthy. So like I was saying, he's stiff. He is stiff, but he kind of has to warm into it. It's kind of like a car in winter. For those of you who know, especially us Canadians, we know. Once the car gets going, it's gonna be a little bit cold. It's gonna be a little stiff at first, but once it gets running and hot, it's good. Once he gets running and into, granted that something crazy doesn't happen in the first round, I think that Jamie Mullarkey, he's gonna look really good going into round number 2, going into the first half of round number 2. Both fighters are very good with their grappling and takedown skills. They are like Khama Worthy. He is I can't remember. I think he's like a purple belt or something like that in Jiu-Jitsu. Like they're both. Jamie Mullarkey, I don't know if I think he does take a little bit of Jiu-Jitsu, but he's very good at grappling. He has no problem taking the fights to the ground. I think if Jamie takes the fight to the ground, though, I think he needs to be careful because I feel like Khama Worthy is going to find a way to, like, Jamie Mullarkey needs to be careful because I feel like Khama Worthy he could try and set up a choke or a submission win. So I think it's very critical that if, probably will happen, I guarantee it's going to happen, Jamie Mullarkey tries to take the fight to the ground, I do believe that Khama Worthy is going to, he's going to try and set up a submission. So I think Jamie Mullarkey, you need to be careful. I can see Mullarkey wanting to keep this fight standing and making it mostly a striking match. This kind of goes back to what I was just saying, because of the fact that Worthy is highly trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, I think it's kind of just basically what I'm saying. Jamie Mullarkey is obviously not stupid, right? So he knows, he's going to know about, Worthy's Jiu-Jitsu. So I think it would be a wise thing just to keep the fight standing and to being careful and maybe kind of box off of his back foot a little bit, trying to find an opening. However, I do see Worthy gassing Mullarkey out in the second half of the fight, and Mullarkey starting to look for more openings to shoot his takedowns. That's pretty self-explanatory. Mullarkey, he does gas out a little bit. I think it'll be interesting because they have, I think they're pretty close to the amount of fights they've had. You can take a look, oh, by the way, you guys can take a look in the description for all the fighter resumes. It's going to be, just click on the description right now and you'll see all the fighter resumes. Mullarkey, he does tend to gas out a little bit, but I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see because he's good at grappling, and once he gets you down onto the ground, most guys are, they have a hard time, right? So it'll be interesting to see with Worthy's jiu-jitsu. I don't know. It's gonna be. I think it'll be a close fight. I do see this fight going the distance. I do. I predict this fight will either be a KO or TKO win for Mullarkey in the later half of the first round, or a decision win for Worthy. Now I obviously didn't check these. I feel like it's maybe later. Now that I look at this, later half of the fight, I don't see Mullarkey winning by decision. To be truthfully honest with you, I don't. I see Worthy winning by decision, but I don't see Mullarkey winning by decision. I don't see that happening because I think his last 2 fights were decision losses. Apparently the last fight that Mullarkey had was pretty close, and that there's some people who think that he should have won it. I think it's going to be a close fight, and I feel like if it goes the distance, I feel like Worthy's going to win, and Mullarkey might subsequently get cut. Or if Mullarkey ends up winning, I feel like it's going to be either a KO or TKO in the second half of the fight. Probably somewhere in that last little bit of the second round or anywhere in the third round. But anyways, let me know what you think about this one. For fight number 2, we have Sean Sugar O'Malley versus Tom Almeida. This is going to be an interesting fight because it's pretty evenly matched. 3-round fight, 5 minutes. Both fighters are very explosive with high levels of endurance. These guys got stamina, for sure. Sean O'Malley, lots of stamina. Thomas Almeida, stamina. Like, these guys, they can go the distance, no problem. No problem at all. Both fighters are very good at their striking skills and can both take punches. These guys are strong. They can take punches easily, and I think that it'll stylistically, like I'm about to say in a second, it's a pretty even fight. I predict that even though both fighters are well-trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that they're both gonna want to keep it standing. I don't know if any of you guys watch like the UFC like embedded vlogs, but Sean O'Malley said he's like, I think it's going to be a kickboxing match. I saw that was the one from today, and I was thinking, I was like, because I wrote this out this morning, and then when I watched this, I was actually thinking about it through the day, and then when I watched the embedded vlog, I was like, yeah, I'm glad he thinks the same too. I actually don't even think it's going to be against the cage. I think it's going to be, pretty close to the center of the octagon. I think that it's not going to be on the ground. If it's on the fence, it's going to be on the fence for a few seconds. A fighter doesn't want to be up against the fence at all. Because, I know there's some examples where they do. Yeah, you don't want to be up against the fence because you don't have anywhere to go out, right? Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty much just a kickboxing match, Because of how evenly matched up this fight is in terms of skill, I see this fight being a late third-round KO or TKO win for either fighter, but I wouldn't be surprised the fight went to a split decision. Yeah, honestly, I could see, this is one of those things where because it's evenly matched up, this isn't all fights, but especially for fights like this, all it takes is for one mishap or whatever, and then you're screwed for the rest of the fight, and then you slowly get drained and drained. If especially like 3 rounds fight, let's just talk about 3-round fights for now. Then somewhere in the third round, get dropped. Actually, you know what? I hate this fight with a passion, but the Gilbert Burns Kamaru Usman fight, that's what happened. Got dropped in the 3rd round because he kept making, because Burns kept making mistakes, and then Kamaru just got him, right? I don't know, I feel like it's kind of gone to Sean O'Malley's head a little bit. Like, he's got a pretty big ego, and I feel like he's kind of just walking in like a little bit I'm the greatest-esque, So I honestly, I want the Sugar Show to win. This is the first time I am viewing live the Sugar Show, but honestly, I could see Thomas Almeida winning. Just saying. All right. Tyron Woodley versus Vicente Luque. This is kind of a sad fight to talk about. For those who know. Tyron Woodley, man. I have it Tyroon. 1 second. Here we go. Tyron Woodley. Honestly, I just need to preface this with, if he loses this will be a 4-fight losing streak, and he'll probably get cut. This is a 3-round fight, 5 minutes, obviously, 5-minute rounds. I predicted this fight will be a lot of Luque trying to come in close and find an opening on Woodley. Luque likes to, he likes to close the distance. He likes to get close, a very close guard, very kickbox. He's trained in Muay Thai, so Thai kickboxing. He likes to stay close to his fighters. Some fighters like to, keep the distance and box off their back foot and wait for the other fighter to get annoyed and just. But I feel like Luque is gonna try and get a little too close, right? And Woodley needs to be careful and he needs to time that shot. Luque likes to close the distance between his opponents, and I think that he'll try and get Woodley up against the cage, kind of like what I just said a little bit. But I feel like Woodley, once he's up against the cage, could go well, could not go well. We'll have to see. He is a guy who likes to box off his back foot, and like in a bunch of videos I was seeing about, people commenting on this fight, they're like, T-Wood, as his nickname is, T-Wood, like, that power that he has in his right hand, and once he's, he boxes off his back foot, and when he just sends that fight, like, gone, right? Woodley, I feel like if he gets the right hit on Luque, I feel like Woodley's got it. Everyone's going with Luque winning, but we all want Woodley to win. While Luque has Woodley up against the cage, I think they'll try and light Woodley up with punches, try and get him in a little bit of a firefight. That being said, I feel like if that does happen, I feel like Woodley will try and go for the takedown, and Woodley is a very dominant wrestler. Woodley's on top of Luque, and he's got him. It'll just be the ground and pound, and I feel like that would be a really good spot for Woodley to be in. So I feel like if it comes into, you know, Woodley taking punches, I feel like he needs to get Luque onto the ground, try and shoot for that takedown. I think this is critical for Woodley to try and control the pace of this fight and look for an opening to fire a big right hand, then shoot his takedown. Luque, he's quick, he's fast. Tyron Woodley is too. I feel like Woodley needs to control the pace and trying to draw, because, you know, Luque likes to get closer and closer, and Woodley likes to go off that back foot. Woodley needs to annoy Luque and just box off that back foot and then send that flying right hand. If Woodley is able to successfully take this fight to the ground, I believe that Woodley will win with the ground and pound. Like what I was saying earlier, if you look at Woodley's highlights, every time he's got the guy on the ground, it's either the dark choke, or the Darce choke that he got Darren Till in, which was insane, or it's just like ground and pound punches. And Woodley, I think he needs to get this fight to the ground to really secure a good victory. Woodley does tend to strike off his back foot a little bit, and I think that he could use that to his advantage if Luque does try and keep the distance close. Like what I was saying earlier, I feel like Luque is just kind of going to try and creep closer and just try and, you know, put some jabs. He's a very technical, very technical fighter. He's not like very sporadic like, you know, O'Malley or someone like that. Luque is very technical. I feel like Woodley needs to find a good opening. If Luque has his guard down on his left just a little bit, I feel like that would just be good. Just a good, you know, connection for Woodley there. If he, you know, boxes off his back foot and just throws that good right. I do see Luque winning in a split decision, or Woodley winning by either submission or an unlikely KO or TKO. I say unlikely because if we have to look at the last 3 fights with Woodley, it's not been great. You know, I heard someone saying, like, you know, Woodley always says, I'm a different guy, and he never is. I feel like, you know, maybe Woodley, I think he sees the writings on the wall a bit, and I think he needs to give it, you know, push it, really just push it. And I feel like Luque is, you know, he's a great fighter. He's a really great fighter, and, you know, either what I was saying with Woodley getting the ground and pound win, or, you know, something just crazy happens and Woodley does get just a good connection to the jaw or something like that, and gets Luque on the ground and was able to finish the fight either with ground and pound, or if he decides to do a submission or whatever. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Luque takes it, but honestly, I want Woodley to win. So let's go Woodley. All right, this is the main event. I'm not going to do the Bruce Buffer impersonation, but yeah, Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou 2. Yeah, this is a 5-rounder, and this is a very interesting fight because, you know, they all say, like, oh, I've changed my game plan, and I do believe they have. And Francis Ngannou has gotten very good. He's gotten very good. Stipe has continued to be good, but Francis has gotten very good. I feel like in this fight, Ngannou is going to look for a first-round KO. I saw something that said that Ngannou has spent less than 2 minutes or something in the cage in the last, like, 3-4 years or something like that. Like, he's a KO machine. Like, honestly, like, I get sad every time I see the clip of him just sending Alistair Overeem into, like, the next galaxy. Like, that's ridiculous. That just... He has the hardest punch in UFC history. Like, if Ngannou does not find an opening to KO Miocic in the first round, I feel like Miocic is going to start shooting the takedowns. I saw DC saying, like, if Ngannou doesn't have this within the first, you know, round, and then the first, you know, minute of the second round, you know, Ngannou's chances are looking slow, and then Miocic will probably win. Yeah, if Ngannou does not have this within the 6 minutes, Miocic will probably win. And honestly, I'm kind of going with that as well. Miocic can take punches for sure. Miocic is smart. He's smart. He's like the GOAT in terms of heavyweights. He is. Like, he really is. He is so good. Like, he's got this planned out, and I feel like his fighter IQ is very high, and I feel like he knows what he's doing. He does know what he's doing. Both these gentlemen know what they're doing, Miocic and Ngannou, but I can see takedowns. I can foresee takedowns 100%. Chael Sonnen was talking about the positioning. It's very important what he's doing with his feet, right, and his arms and all that. Like, when Miocic shoots his takedown, how is Ngannou going to respond, right? Is he going to just kind of fall to the ground and try and do some weird submission thing? Or I don't feel like Ngannou is going to, do super well on the ground. I feel like the best course of action for Francis Ngannou is to have the fight standing and to really be looking to do that big, Francis 1, 2, 3 sort of thing. I mean, Francis only needs one. The key for Ngannou to win is to keep the fight standing because Miocic is the better wrestler of the two. The positioning that Ngannou finds himself in is critical. Like I was saying, it's when Miocic shoots the takedown, how is Ngannou going to respond, right? He needs to position his legs. One thing I want to mention that I was watching and I don't have written down is Ngannou tends to have a little bit of a wider stance. Maybe just because he's kind of tall. He's very tall. I don't know. That could be an issue. See what Stipe does with it. I don't know if leg kicks. I didn't write any of this down. I don't feel like leg kicks are gonna be a part in this. This could just be boxing. I mean, because it's MMA. I do feel like there's going to be some leg kicks utilized and all, but I don't know how much leg kicks are going to be, to be honest, here, going to be a part of this. I feel like after the first round, the ball is in Miocic's court. I feel like the only way that Ngannou will win after the first round is by a very unlikely KO or TKO victory. I think it's going to be an unlikely KO. There's a TKO. I think it's a TKO. Like I'm saying here in this last point, I predict a decision win for Miocic. I do. I honestly feel like Miocic will win. It's tough because I want, of course I want Francis to win. I feel like Francis is bringing his things to the table, and I feel like it's going to do well for him, but I feel like Miocic, he's got it going down. Ngannou's got his things, and Miocic is going to counter it, like, perfectly, and I feel like this fight will probably go the distance unless something crazy happens, right? And then the fight just goes, badly for one of them, and then it's just, TKO situation, or just, there's that, that KO situation, like, example, McGregor Aldo, that was just, 14 seconds, just, or the, Masvidal Askren, flying knee, 3 seconds or 4 seconds or whatever it was. Anyways, I think it's kind of, one last point before I head out here. It's kind of an interesting thing saying, oh, I believe that this fight's going to go X amount, and then, this will happen, and then this will happen. Because you never know. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if it's just going to be one good shot from Miocic, or Francis, everything's going to align perfectly for Francis, and he is just going to hit Miocic right on the button, and that's down with Miocic. You don't know. And do I feel like the fight will go the distance? Like I've said, it probably will. Both these guys are pretty durable. They're pretty evenly matched, respectively. I mean, in terms of what they can take, for example. Will this be another version of, fight one where Miocic is just ragdolling Ngannou the entire fight? No, I don't think so. I honestly don't think it will be that. I believe Ngannou when he says that when I look at that fight, he's like, it looks like me, but it's not me. you know. He's like, I don't even recognize that guy because it's like, I don't fight like that anymore. And I believe him. I'm going to take him at his word. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens with all the fights, but I'm excited to see what happens with this fight in particular. I'm nervous for the Mullarkey and Worthy fight, you know, but I'm excited. I'm excited for this fight, and I think it'll be good. I think it'll be very good. One last point though, that I forgot to mention in the 2 fights previously with the Sean O'Malley and Thomas Almeida. I think, yeah, Thomas Almeida, was the I feel like this fight will be a tennis match, like what I was talking about in my last video. Just back and forth, back and forth. It's evenly matched. I think it's going to be really exciting, really fun to watch. And I feel like all these fights are going to be fun to watch, right? It is a shame that the Alexander Volkanovski and Brian Ortega fight's not happening. I wanted to watch that, man. I mean, Volkanovski, he's Australian. I mean, that name, it's kind of like, what? But he's like Greek Macedonian or something like that. So that's where he gets that name. I kind of wanted to see it, but anyways, I think it's going to be crazy. One last thing. I know I've just said that, but seriously, one last thing. Otman Azatir, his brother, is fighting on the very, very first preliminary card. The first prelim card only has 1 fight. It's Abu Azatir and some Canadian guy whose name I cannot pronounce. Honestly, if you are able to, I would try and watch that fight, because the Azatir brothers are not like 26, 27, 28, you know, something in that range. They're special. Abu Azatir, it's unfortunate that he's 35, and I think he's turning 36 this year. It is unfortunate because if he was, say, 3-4 years younger, you know, he's got the rest of his 30s to just pop off, right? He's getting into the more senior years of a fighting career, right? But, you know, Otman Azatir, he's 31. Anyways, I just wanted to talk about the very, very, very first fight of the night. And, yeah, anyways, guys, thank you for watching this, and it's 9:47 p.m., so I need to get home right now, and I need to edit and then upload it for you guys. Anyways, see ya next video.